and good afternoon. This is Jeff Phillips with CollegeFrog and National Meet the Firms Week. Thank you so much for joining today's presentation on starting your career in a corporation or in-house. We are thrilled that you're here and thrilled to have Terrell McCrae and Vanguard presenting this what's going to be an exciting and informational session today. A couple of housekeeping items here. So you'll notice on your GoToWebinar panel that's up on your screen that there's a box where you can type questions, the question box. Feel free to use that to give us feedback and certainly to ask questions, because we're going to have plenty of time at the end of the presentation for Terrell to answer your questions, and that is why we are here. This is part of National Meet the Firms Week, sponsored by CollegeFrog, CPA Excel, Deloitte, the Association of Accounting Marketing, and the Association of Accounting Administration. We appreciate our partners in reaching out and connecting with students and job seekers like you. And if you're not familiar with National Meet the Firms Week, you can learn more at meetthefirmsweek.com. Essentially, you can use that website to register for the event and build a profile on CollegeFrog. CollegeFrog is the accounting profession's leading network for college student job seekers, and employers search the database of students to find great hires. So make sure you build a profile. You'll find employers like Vanguard and 500 other companies who hire accounting majors and recent grads on our site. There are 2 more webinars this week to help you, Thursday and Friday. So Thursday's presentation will be Life in a Mid-Sized Firm. So you're an accounting major or a recent grad, and you want to find out what life is like and what the benefits are of starting your career at a mid-market firm, with which there are thousands of them. And I highly encourage you to participate in this. Kevin Turco from Armanino in California will be presenting that. And then on Friday, we will have the CollegeFrog career coach, Yvonne Harris, who's from UHY, a top 20 firm in the country. She'll be giving you the inside scoop on what recruiters are looking for candidates. And there's going to be a very special offer that can help you with your resume, but you're going to have to attend to find out what that offer is. So I hope you register. If you go to meetthefirmsweek.com, you'll see a link that says webinars, and you can click that and register for the webinars. So, and for those of you who've never been on a webinar before, essentially you'll be able to watch Terrell's screen and his slides. He's going to show a video, and this will be the first time we've done a video through this, so if it's a little bit clunky, bear with us, but it's worth it because it's an outstanding video, and you'll be able to hear him present. So with that being said, today we're talking about starting your career in a corporation. So we at CollegeFrog want you to understand what your options are for careers when you get out of school. Whether it's with a Big Four, a mid-market firm, a corporation, there are a lot of options. And there are over 5,000 corporations that hire accounting and finance grads right out of school or for internships, and Vanguard is no exception. We're going to learn from Terrell today about why you should start your career in a corporation and what that is like at a company like Vanguard. So speaking of the question box, I've got a question for you. I want to try something here. Terrell and I would love to know what colleges are represented on the school today. So if you can, type in your question box and tell us where you're from, and I'll kind of give some shout-outs here. All right, they're starting to come through. Nice. Okay, you're getting the hang of it. So Oakland University, Whittier College, Wayne State, University of Connecticut, University of Arkansas, University of Idaho, University of Cincinnati, Michigan State, Manhattan College, University of Hawaii. Again, I'm very jealous of you, sir. University of Maryland, TCU, University of Central Florida. We're in Pensacola, Florida, not too far from you. University of Texas at Austin. I used to live down the street from your school. Thank you guys for joining. George Mason, Keller, SUNY, Old Westbury, UTD. Terrell, we got a lot of great schools represented in this list today. UNLV's on the call, Western Illinois. They got a great accounting program. Oh, I love doing this, finding out where everybody's from. Thank you guys for doing that. So let me tell you about Vanguard. Vanguard is, as you probably already know, is the world's largest mutual fund company with over $2 trillion in assets under management. That's a big company. They're headquartered in Valley Forge, Pennsylvania, but they have multiple locations around the country. And why does Vanguard want to talk to accounting majors? Well, they have the Accelerated Leadership Program, a program where they hire accounting students, an Accelerated Financial Program where they hire finance majors. This is an incredible way to start your career because it helps you understand a business from the inside out. And it also, these programs train you to grow your career as well. Working closely in fund management, which is right up at the alley for accounting majors. So with that said, Terrell McCrae is with Vanguard. He's in Pennsylvania as well, and he is a university relations specialist in their human resources department. So he works with colleges and college students on helping them identify Vanguard as a potential employer. So Terrell, let's get started. It's all yours. Thank you so much for joining us, and I'll hand it over to you, okay?
Great. Thank you so much. So welcome, everyone, and we certainly want to thank Jeff and CollegeFrog for allowing us to talk to you all today. Just to give you a little bit of background about myself, I've actually been with Vanguard for 8 years as of, I think, about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I've been in the finance industry since kind of right out of high school, really. All through college, I worked in the financial industry. So I'm a younger guy, but I have about 13 years of experience under my belt, so it's been great to be a part of finance. And I think what I'm going to talk about at some point, or maybe you even have some questions about it, I can honestly say, having worked in the industry for 14 years in finance, not necessarily specifically accounting, but I've had worked for 2 great companies that have given me a depth of different experiences that I've been able to draw on, and I'm going to talk about that in a little bit and why something like that is important. But just want you to know that. So my major in college was business administration, human resource management, and I have a master's, or obtaining a master's degree in organizational leadership development. And Vanguard has even helped pay for that. Vanguard has a great tuition reimbursement program. They're paying about $9,000 a year for me to continue my education, and it's something that's really important to the people here at Vanguard, and as a great place to work. They believe that education is paramount, and so they've really helped support my endeavor to continue my education. So that's something that you also should think about as you're thinking about companies and corporations that you're interested in being a part of. Find out what kind of tuition reimbursement they offer. You may want to go back to school at some point, or financial help is always appreciated, especially when it's quote unquote free money. But I'm going to talk about Vanguard and why you should consider some type of career with a company or corporation as it relates to the industry as a whole. So let's just look at our agenda for a little bit. I'm going to talk about Vanguard and our culture. I'm also going to talk about how to leverage some of the resources that you might have available at your various schools. The importance of trying to navigate through professional networking as it relates to trying to figure out what type of career options might be best for you. Some best practices when interviewing, and how a company can help meet your needs, and that's really important, and I think I'll expound upon that more when we get there, why it's so important that it's culture and fit is a really good thing. And then again, some of the career opportunities that are currently available here at Vanguard. So I hope this is interactive for you guys. I hope it's really dynamic and that you enjoy the information. So just a little bit about Vanguard and where we are. Our operations is in Malvern, which is right outside of Valley Forge in Pennsylvania. Domestically in the U.S., we do also have offices in Charlotte, North Carolina, and Scottsdale, Arizona, as well as several international offices around the world, such as Amsterdam, the Netherlands, Hong Kong, London, Paris, France, Singapore, Tokyo, Toronto, Canada, Switzerland, you name it. We want to be where there is a possibility that we can change the market. Vanguard has the approach that there's this thing, and it's a real thing, I'm not making it up, it's called the Vanguard effect. And the Vanguard effect just simply means whenever Vanguard shows up to a market, a financial market, we literally change the landscape and force the market to change because we bring such a dynamic type of way of looking at and doing business to every financial market that we come to. So that's your homework. Check out the Vanguard effect and just read don't take my word for it. Read what the media outlets are saying about the Vanguard effect and what it is that we do when we join a market. We don't just go someplace just for the sake of going, but we truly believe in being strategic and conservative about our approach to our investors' money. For those of you that don't know, Vanguard is not a publicly traded company. We don't have shareholders per se to have an allegiance to. Our Vanguard is owned by our mutual funds. Our mutual funds own the company. It's a very unique structure that I also encourage you to check out. John Bogle, who is our founder, pioneered that very patented type of investing, and we're very grateful that he is still an active part of Vanguard's history. He founded this company and still walks the halls here, and I just bumped into him eating lunch the other day, so that's really cool. We do have slightly over $2 trillion in mutual fund assets under management, and it's just a different place. And I talk about culture, and I thought it was really important to kind of start off this presentation talking about culture, because it's one of those things that I don't know you all don't always think about. I think it's important to make sure that wherever you decide to work, the company is just as much a good fit for you as you are for them, and that's important. I remember coming right out of college, there were some fundamental things that were very important to me. You know, I wanted to have some resemblance of work-life balance. You know, I didn't want to be at work 14 hours a day, and you know, my community was really important to me, and I wanted to stay actively involved in the community, and I believed that you know, those things were important. And a lot of people told me, you know, fresh out of college, those aren't the types of jobs you're not going to find. But I remember looking and searching really hard, and I found companies out there that matched some of the philosophies that I fundamentally believed in and that matched my culture. And I know that's not something, it's not a popular topic to talk about, but if you're going to spend, you know, a good majority of your life at work, and you will, I think it's important to be happy about where you work and at least try to make sure that the company matches some of the goals and some of the cultural things that align with your personal beliefs. And Vanguard certainly fit that for me. And so I wanted to show you a video. Ignites, which is a media outlet that specifically works with financial industries and kind of keeping you up to date on what's going on in financial industry, recently came to Vanguard, and they interviewed some of our leaders, and they just spent some time here on our campus. And I call it a campus because here on Vanguard, we're not in, you know, in New York. We're out in Valley Forge. It's very picturesque, very green, very low-lying, very rural place to work. It's very tranquil. It's much like probably many of your college campuses, and it feels like a college campus, so we call it a campus. But there was a video that that Ignites did, and I thought it was a great thing. I wanted to show it to you so that you could maybe get a visual feel for this place that we call Vanguard. So the video is a little, as you can see, 3 minutes and 31 seconds. I just want to show you this for a moment, and then we'll come back and we'll talk a little bit more.
Most of us would say that we probably spend more time with the people we work with than the people we live with. And so it's really important that that sense of family is extended into the workplace.
I think culture is a really important element of any organization. You know, if you think about what we do, you know, from a client service and an investment perspective, it's very people-oriented. And if you want to attract great people, I think you have to have a really strong culture.
When Jack Bogle founded his mutual fund company in 1975, he wanted a name that exemplified the preparation, dedication, and loyalty to the client. A lover of British naval history, he chose the name of a ship. And like that, Vanguard and the crew culture were born.
Everything here is nautical. You know, we don't have a cafeteria, we have a galley. We don't have a gym, we have ship shape. We don't have buildings that are named after individuals. We have buildings that are named after Nelson's fleet. We don't have employees, we have crew members.
For us employees, it's about somebody who's paid to do a task. But crew represents part of a team, part of an effort to do something bigger, better, broader. And it's really important that all of our crew act together.
What this does is it gives everybody a common language, and it gives people a little bit of a special bonding, if you will. And I think that's really important in establishing culture.
Vanguard's headquarters in Malvern, Pennsylvania have a distinct suburban and community feel.
We spend a lot of time trying to create open spaces and places where people can come and gather together. We are a very relationship-based organization. We believe in, as often as we can, meeting face-to-face. It drives collaboration, it drives innovation, And it's just a great way to kind of foster collective wisdom of the organization.
Vanguard crew appreciate the benefits of a campus like this, but it's the sense of teamwork and a higher mission that drives employee engagement.
Our structure plays a really important role in our culture. We are client-owned, and the profits that we generate go back to the client. And this singular focus really helps solidify our culture.
That culture has to be grounded in doing the right thing, which I think is part and parcel of who we are. But then I think there's, when you can have something that's a little bit fun, and it may sound a little hokey to some, I think it actually helps.
We work very, very hard to make sure that our senior leadership is very active in kind of spreading and cultivating the culture of Vanguard.
What I hope to do is create an environment that attracts the most talented people in the industry.
Vanguard executives say the firm's corporate identity is its top recruitment tool.
Kind of live our values. And the truth of the matter is you're either going to love us or you're not. So that is one of the reasons that we spend so much time on the interview process. We want people to be a part of this, and we want to make sure you're right for us as much as we are right for you.
We think we can literally change the landscape of the investment world, but I think when you wrap it with a little bit of historical stories and the nautical culture, it just adds a little color to it and gives people this community sense that's really powerful.
Great. So again, I wanted to show that video. I hope that you it gives you a better sense for the type of company that Vanguard is and the things that's important, to us, and kind of, at least virtually give you a somewhat of a tour of our campus. I hope that smoothly ran for everyone. But there are some things that I definitely wanted to make sure that I talk about, because as you're thinking about, your career options and, do I definitely need to want to work for a Big Four, and what are some things that a corporation might have to offer for me? There are some things that you can do to stay fulfilled, and I want to talk about that fulfillment option. When we look at an event like this, the CollegeFrog and this whole Meet the Firms week has been all about. It's called the Right Fit series, and when we talk about the right fit, and staying fulfilled, there's some things that you can do to try to help make sure that you're positioning yourself the best way possible. Seek out internship opportunities. I know this is something that you've heard before, and I'm probably not telling you anything new, but I don't know if you've ever stopped to think about the power of an internship in regards to a long-term career. If you go to a company and you're able to take an internship, whether it's a paid or an unpaid internship, it will help you figure out, long-term, could I see myself working in this type of environment? Could I see myself doing this type of job? And it helps you really start pathing to figure out and at least weeding out the things that you don't want to do, but maybe help fine-tune the things that you really do want to do. And I think that's important that you seek out internship opportunities, find out where they're out, where the opportunities are and where they lay, and how you can really take advantage of those. I do a lot of mock interviewing on campus and talk to a lot of students, and I'm often surprised in mock interviews how much students don't know about the corporation or the company or even the Big Four that they're interested in applying for. You have to do your due diligence. It not only does it make you look well-versed and help, the recruiters understand how much you know about the particular company that you're interviewing for, but mock interviews are a great way just to kind of, in a very meaningful and a very constructive way of helping you just kind of sharpen yourself. So, I don't care if you're doing the mock interviews, maybe with, a trusted advisor, a trusted friend, career services at your university. You're joining networks and organizations that provide mock interviews. I think they're an invaluable tool. I even find myself, as I said, I'm 14 years into my career, and every time I think about posting for a new position internally with Vanguard, I do mock interviews. I do mock interviews with my management team, and so you are never too seasoned or too young or too green, if you will, to kind of consider doing some mock interviews. I think they're invaluable. The other thing is career fairs. Career fairs will help you get a feel for an organization. When you go to career fairs and you start to talk to some of the recruiters or individuals that work for some of these companies, they will give you glimpses into how that particular company thinks and operates. It's really important that you listen for some of those cues that kind of align, again, with who you are, what you want to do, where you're thinking about career pathing. And I talk about careers. You'll hear me say throughout this presentation, I'll use the word careers and not a job, and that's very deliberate on my part. I think you ought to be careful. You know, some people, I think jobs are okay, but you know, long-term careers really help make things a little bit more meaningful for you. You know, are you looking to have a career, something that's long-term, where you can put some roots down at a particular company and really start to blossom? I think careers are so important, and you don't have to know what you want to do with the rest of your life. When I say career, I'm not saying what you're going to do forever, but you can have short-term career goals. You know, be dedicated to working for a particular place or a particular employer for a year or 2 years, and it helps you get some continuity around what you're going to do and how you're going to develop and where you want to, you know, get some grassroots development in. And then the last thing is student organizations. Many of you, I'm sure all of you, have on your campuses some great student organizations within the industries that you are interested in working in. Financial clubs or portfolio management clubs, or you know, those types of experiences are invaluable. I'll say as a personal note, when I go out to universities and I'm doing interviews on campus, or I'm speaking to students, I personally, and I know a lot of the other recruiters with other companies are, they're looking for leadership experience. They want to know, are you that passionate about finance and accounting that even in your extracurricular time, you're spending time working on investment clubs? And us accountant folks tend to, you know, get a reputation as being a little bit nerdy, but I think nerds are cool. You know, it's a fun thing, you know, to be able to, for me, to be able to read the Financial Times. When I worked in our fund financial services department, I worked on the team which was the corporate actions team, and I was processing corporate actions, and I thought it was really cool how I could pick up the Wall Street Journal, you know, on a Tuesday and see, you know, a merger or a stock split that took place was something that I actually touched here for Vanguard on that Monday, you know, the day before, and you know, that was really cool to me. And again, you can call me nerdy, but you know, those type of things excited me. It was really cool that I knew that whatever was taking place in the financial industry was, you know, I could see it in the newspaper and then know that I touched it or I would be touching it when it came time to process that action. And those are the type of things, you know, that are interesting to me. So I've not been in HR all of my life. I've actually worked in many accounting groups and teams within the industry, and I think that stuff is really cool. So, you know, it's fun and seek out opportunities to join some of those organizations, memberships, and don't just be a member, be a leader, stand out. Nothing's going to get you noticed more from many of these companies. We're looking for students that have leadership capabilities. You know, are you willing to be a president? We understand that that's leadership. That takes a lot of responsibility. Being vice president, recording secretary, treasurer. You know, do you hold an office? It speaks volumes about the kind of person that you are. You know, some of the best candidates I look at are the candidates that have those membership offices that they've held, and they still have a high GPA, and they have double majors and minors. I don't know how they do it, but you guys do it, and it speaks volumes to who you are and what you're able to do. So those are the type of things I definitely encourage for you to take advantage of. But the next thing I want to talk about is having the ability to stay challenged, and I just kind of touched on it for a moment. You know, in the competitive industry, such as, you know, the financial industry, you know, the reward is high, but the requirements are high as well. You have to stay challenged by challenging yourself. It's not just enough anymore just to get good grades. Good grades are extremely important, but it's what you're doing with those grades. Are you also involved in organizations? Are you staying connected? Are you reading and staying up on what's going on in the industry? One of the common questions that we ask, and I'm kind of, you know, if you ever get a chance to interview with Vanguard, this is a question that you probably will get, but how do you stay in touch with what's going on in the financial industry? That's huge to us. You know, we don't want to have crew members, which is what we call our employees. We don't want to have crew who say that they're interested in about finance and accounting, but don't do anything to stay connected to what's going on in the industry. So all of our interviewers will almost always ask the question, what do you do to keep yourself up to date on what's going on. And that's important because the fact that you know what you're doing and actually be able to recite something that you recently saw that piqued your interest or that excited you is something that speaks again to the type of person you are and whether you would be a good fit for a company such as Vanguard. But professional networks are really important. You know, faculty sponsors, I will say some of the best candidates that I think we get really good candidates from professors, and we tend to trust professors on colleges and campuses. They see a lot of students, they interact with a lot of students, and sometimes, you know, I get a resume from a college professor who's just saying, hey, this student is really great, and I'm probably going to look, you know, 2 or 3 times at that particular student because of where and who they were recommended from. Coming from a professor or a faculty member. Internship coordinators, if you have someone, you know, in your career services office who specifically works with, you know, being able to resource and find internships for students, they're an invaluable resource because they probably have a contact at a particular firm, or they could point you in the direction of a firm that they think would be a good fit for you. You know, a lot of these career services coordinators, they work every year for years with particular companies and have invaluable resource and inside knowledge, if you will, about some of the things that are going on with some of these companies. It's worth having a conversation with them to figure out what do you think based on, you know, you having a conversation with them might be a good fit for you for looking for employment and growing a career. And then professional networking websites. You know, we work a lot with professional networking websites. We're working with CollegeFrog right now. We also work with lots of infinity groups, you know, diverse organizations, National Association of Black Accountants, MBA associations, various fraternities and sororities, academic clubs on campuses. They're a great way to help kind of grow your network. You know, you don't know what you don't know, right? I know it sounds like it's a little weird, but there's so much out there that unless you get out there and talk to people and kind of join networking and develop resources, you won't realize how much information you're kind of not getting to be a part of. And then, you know, again, with that service organization component. So I just want to talk just kind of briefly for the sake of time about, you know, staying balanced and practicing for your interviewing. I know I talked about it a few slides ago, and so I'm going to go through this fairly fast, but you do want to try to create a customized resume. I know it's a little bit extra work, but, you know, you put the work in and it's worth the effort. Don't be afraid to tailor your resume specifically for the type of firm, corporation that you're looking to grow your career with, which means that if you know you're applying at a particular company and they have these particular positions open, I'm not saying keep your jobs relevant, but maybe what you did at that job, maybe there are some responsibilities that you had at that job which specifically fits the type of individuals that are looking for that position. So you don't list, you know, everything that you did at a job. Most of you will probably put about 2, 3, maybe 4 of your responsibilities. Why not tailor your responsibilities for each type of company that you're applying for? Take that past experience from that employer and kind of make your experience fit what it is they're looking for. You know, you can talk up, for example, if, you know, your resume, you worked at, you know, and all experience is relevant. So let's say you worked in the campus bookstore. Be able to say, you know, what specific responsibilities you handled at a company, the bookstore, that might be really great for a company like Vanguard, such as, you know, at the bookstore, I was responsible for handling multiple tasks that we're giving and being able to be highly adaptable. That's extremely important. It was a bookstore, but you were highly adaptable. In the financial world, you have to be able to change on a dime. You could be doing one particular task one day and then it change around and be something completely different the next day. You want to be prepared for that. And a lot of that is, you know, in researching the company, showing professional presence. I think this is a huge one, and it's worth me stopping and pausing and saying, you know, take the time to be a little bit polished. You know, I'm always kind of put off by the students that I interact with who don't take the time to shave, or you know, they're wearing a suit but they have on sneakers, and, you know, or dress socks with a suit, or, you know, it's just professional presence goes a long way. If you really want the job and maybe you don't have the outfit, borrow the outfit, do whatever you need to do to put your best foot forward when you're going out to these career fairs, these networking events, these meet the firms events. You want to put your best foot forward, and it goes a long way because we make snap judgment impressions about you, within the first 3 minutes of meeting you, and that appearance goes a long way. So I know it seems maybe a little trivial to some of you, but your appearance is important. Shower, be nice and fresh and clean, and don't put on too much perfume or too much cologne. All those things are things that recruiters and professionals like myself definitely pay attention to, and always be appropriate in your question asking. It's never appropriate, and I get it a lot, to ask about salary on the first interaction. If you have and really need to ask about salary, save that until you get to your interview phase, maybe when you're on your first or second sit-down interview with the company. So I'm not going to beat that drum too much, but this balance is really important when we talk about best practices. So this next slide that I want to share is really important, and I think it goes a lot to speaking specifically about how to figure out whether a corporation or what type of company, if you will, is the right fit for you. So this diagram depicts Maslow's hierarchy of needs. It was developed in 1943 by a psychologist by the name of Abraham Maslow. You can look all this up. The pyramid consists of 5 levels. On the left of the diagram, you'll see that there's a short list of basic needs that need to be met at each level in order for one to experience personal growth. Everyone's level of need is unique, right? And on the right side, you'll see some samples of tools and resources that companies should be able to offer you to help their employees develop both their personal and professional needs. So, if we look at these, and I think this is important because it goes back to that culture. If some things are really important to you and it's a cultural thing for you, you want to make sure that in your due diligence of researching the company, find out whether the company has those needs that you really want, desire, and would like to have. I know some of you are saying, and I can almost hear it through the screen, some of you are saying, I just want a job. But, if you can match up having a job that that pays and a job that also meets a lot of the needs that you want and feel like it'd be really nice to have, why not go after that? Don't settle if you can just put some work in and get all of your needs met. There's a lot of companies out there who are just looking for the best and brightest talent. You take a company like Vanguard, while a lot of you may want safety and security, we offer that. We can honestly say in the years, in the 50-some-odd years we've been around, we've never had to do any layoffs. That safety component is very important. How many financial companies can you say, especially during the down economy a few years ago, didn't have any layoffs? Not very many. Now, we went on a hiring freeze. We weren't necessarily doing a lot of hiring, but our employees that were working here, our crew members, didn't have to worry about whether they were going to be laid off. To some people, that's important. I don't know that all the big four firms could say that. When things got lean at some of those companies, that meant jobs had to go. That wasn't something that was necessarily an issue here. We offer lots of wellness here. It's a very safe campus, a very safe place to work. We provide resources for all of our crew. You may have even seen in the video, to work out, to run, which fits into that cultural belonging, which is that next tier up from the bottom. Being able to be in a place where you can work as a part of a team, be in a collaborative environment. Vanguard is not the type of company where it's just about you and only the work that you can provide. It's about what can you contribute to the team? What are you bringing to the team dynamic? How important is working well with others? It kind of goes back to what we learned in elementary school. How well do you play with others? What do you do, that kind of brings benefit to the team? When we look at our monthly evaluations for each of our crew members, it's evaluated about how you're contributing to the overall team. What have you personally brought to the table that helps the team? And, it's about that esteem component, rewards and recognition. We have great programs where we financially compensate and get bonuses to our crew members who work here. And, overall, I think our crew, we rank very high in our crew satisfaction or our employee satisfaction ratings that we do every 2 years. And it's something that the company is constantly looking at. one of the things that I want to make sure that you understand, when you think about a company like Vanguard and you are coming out of college, and let's say you really think you want to do accounting, or you want to be you want your CFA designation, and let's say you get your CFA and you work on a team where you are a CFA and you're having a chance to exercise, and you thought that would be the perfect thing. You get into it, and all of a sudden you realize, and this happens, that this isn't exactly the right fit for you. What I love about working at a place like this is that if you figure out that the job that you're currently in isn't the ideal job for you, you don't have to leave the company. I know that there's a lot of companies where, if you're not liking what you're doing, they'll tell you to look for another job. Vanguard will not tell you to look for a job, and not only will they not tell you that you have to look for another job, but we are dedicated to helping you find the job that's the right fit for you. So I mentioned to you that, my degree out of college was in business administration, and when I started my career, I couldn't find a job specifically in human resources, and I couldn't do exactly what it is I wanted to do. So I started working more on the financial accounting side of the business, and I remember my first position, I absolutely hated it. And I was probably not as gracious about it as I should have been. Working, I was telling people how upset I was, and people would ask, and I'd say, I'm not happy about what it is that I'm doing. And I'll never forget, a senior leader came over and said, how are you doing? And he was a senior leader, and so I said, oh, I'm fine. And he says, well, that's not what I hear. And I was mortified because word had gotten all the way back to him that I was kind of griping and complaining about the job, that I had, and I thought that he would have probably had every right to do so. Pennsylvania is an at-will state, which means you can be fired at will for no apparent reason. And I thought he was going to fire me, but what he actually did is he pulled me into his office and he said, I hear you're unhappy. At Vanguard, we don't want you to be unhappy. We want you to do something that's meaningful to you, and I want to help you. And what he did was remarkable. He went through and had me take a Myers-Briggs learning assessment to figure out what my strengths were. And based on what my strengths were, he figured out what opportunities were available within the company that might be a really good fit for me, and started having me go attend informationals at those various departments. I did some job shadows, and within, I think, about 5 or 6 months, I was able to move out of a job where I wasn't happy into a job that was a much better fit for me. It wasn't where I ultimately wanted to be, but I was happier. And I find the longer that I've been here, the 8 years that I've been here, the great thing about Vanguard, and especially our headquarters, but it's our culture in general, is that whatever you want to do, if you're not happy, our leadership is less about telling you that you have to be happy in your job and figure out a way to make it work. They really take the approach of what can we do to help you get to where you need to be. If you are unsatisfied in your job, your team leaders, your managers will do everything within their power to help figure out what's the best way to get you to where you want and need to be, because they want you to be fulfilled in your career, they want you to be satisfied, and they want you to be happy. That's huge. How often do you hear about a company truly want their employees to be happy? And so it's not just about having a job, but having the right job, having the right career, being fulfilled within what you do. This campus, and you saw in that one of the first slides that I showed, we have 13,000 employees. Let's say you decide a year or two into your career that accounting is not for me, and you really have a passion for events planning. We have every possible position that you can think of. With the company being this large and an international company, there's pretty much there's no job that isn't available here. We hire and do everything from marketing to social media to events planning, human resources, legal. There's so many things, and the great thing is once you're here, we found that you tend to stay. It's a good place to work, and I've kind of, I drank the Kool-Aid a little bit. I work here, but I honestly would say that, even if I didn't. So, being able to meet those needs are extremely important. And then I know we're running out of time here, so I'm going to move forward just a little bit and just talking about, I don't think some of this stuff is necessarily important, but for this purpose, I do want to talk about, I offered that mention that we offer our academic assistance. Our employee training program is huge. You know, you don't necessarily need to know how to do the specific job you're being hired for. We have a university on our campus that will teach all of their employees how to do what they need to do to be successful in their position, and we also have tons of career development. So with that, what I like to do now is, looking at the time, I'd like to open it up to some of your questions, and Jeff will come back on the line and he'll field some of those questions for us and help answer some of your specific questions that you may have. And I hope that was informational for you guys.
Charles, this is awesome. I think this gives everybody a great look at Vanguard and also working in corporations with an accounting degree. Man, thank you so much for walking us through this. We have as I thought we might, given the information, we have a ton of questions.
Okay.
And we'll try to get to everybody's questions, and if we can't, we will certainly stay on after the end of the call and answer them online as well. But Charles, I think for some people, this may be the first time with an accounting degree, someone has told them that there is a pathway to start a career in a corporation. And I think that what would be nice is to boil down in just a couple bullet points. Why should you look at a corporation as opposed to, pursuing the Big Four, pursuing a small firm, so yeah, let's start there.
Yeah, I mean, I think I alluded to it a little bit, but just to expound upon it a little bit more, the great thing about working for a corporation is that a corporation is going to be deeper and wider in the range of, options that they're going to have available to you, where, the Big Four firms, they're great, they're big companies, but I don't know how much growth there's going to be able to be for you to be a little bit more nimble and try many different things. One of the things that I think makes some of the corporations, not only Vanguard, but some of the other corporations really great, is that you can move around quite easily, actually, and try many different things within your same major or degree area of interest. Yeah, and I think that's really beneficial.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, the things that I hear is a wide range of career opportunities. Certainly, Vanguard in particular has incredible benefits and a real commitment to raising up the professional and coaching you. So yeah, I think that really is helping everybody get a picture of this. So give us a typical day of an accounting grad who is a recent hire into the accelerated leadership program. And I'm sorry if I'm botching that name, but kind of give us a day in the life, a sort of job description of someone who's hired into that program.
Sure. So there's two accelerated leadership programs. One is called the VADP, which is the Vanguard Accelerated Development Program. It is a 15-month program that's designed to help newly hired crew members build their leadership and client relationship and management skills, and it's preparing them for supervisory or leadership or a client-facing career. And so with that particular program, it's highly competitive. We're looking for GPAs of 3.3s or higher. Within that 15 months, your first month in, you're studying to get your series license because you are talking to clients about investment options, so you do have to get your Series 6 and 63. Vanguard pays for, supports the entire program, so you're not asked to do that on your own time or dime, which is really nice. But you get mentorship from senior leaders and to help lead you through the program. Again, it's a highly competitive program. There's only a handful of students that are taken for the hundreds of applications that we get, but it is a great way for someone who clearly shows that that's their laser focus. They have the club leadership experience, the GPA is really high, the professional presence, all those things are there. I definitely say that's a great program. The other program, which is a leadership development program, is our Acceleration into Financial Professionals program. It's a 12-month program that explores and takes the participants through a diverse part of our finance industry, specifically corporate finance, audit, in our fund financial industry part of our business. So you're only rotating through the financial side of the business, where the VADP kind of rotates you through different parts of our business. The AFP, the Accelerated Financial Professional Program, is only with our within our finance division, if you will. Still leadership expectation that you'd launch into some type of analyst position or leadership position, and you get great leadership and guidance within that particular program as well. And so probably the next question is, because both of those programs are highly competitive, are those the only opportunities that are available? And I would say no. We also offer a wonderful program or launching point called our Fund Financial Associate position that will position any new hire within our Strategy and Finance division, working with the accounting for the Vanguard funds. It's where I came from when I mentioned that I was able to do corporate actions and find what was going on in the news and something that I was touching. That's where I started. It's a great place to grow, get some knowledge, get a feel for the company, and still have an opportunity to still maybe at some point in your career look at those other programs.
Terrell, you mentioned the GPA requirement, and it's fairly high for the Accelerated Leadership Program. One student asks, I have a GPA below 3.0. Is that too low? And what is there anything available for me? And then as a follow-up, Terrell, is if I have a low GPA, but it was because I had a bad start in college, but I really caught on. What can I demonstrate to you as a recruiter that that can make me a viable candidate?
Sure. So I'll try to answer all that. The leadership programs are only 2 programs of the many positions that we hire for, but we typically do look for students for the accelerated programs as a way to kind of grow our next leaders for the corporation. Because the program is so highly competitive, the GPA is a way of kind of separating or sifting through the process for who is going to be extended interview. So yes, it's a hard line GPA requirement at 3.3 or higher, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But on the other side of that, there are other opportunities. We have our client relationship specialist, which works with our retail investor group, which, if you're interested in working and speaking with clients and helping give them financial advice, it's another one of those series. Those are available. We hire lots of people, especially students for that position. I think we have over 1,000 openings for those right now. Get a chance to interact every day with our clients on the telephone and speaking with them, also via via the internet. There's the Fund Financial Services, which I mentioned. For our MIS folks, we also have a world-class. If you don't know anything about Vanguard's IT department, you ought to do some research. Our IT department is a world-class IT department. It's literally like another company within our company. They have their own facilities. Some of the best and brightest minds, work within our IT department. If you're interested in a program like that, and maybe you're a junior or a sophomore, we are taking applications right now for our IT, what we call college to corporate internships, and those are being taken, like I said, right now through September. So there's lots of career options that are available out there. I don't want to give anyone the impression that the accelerated the leadership development programs are definitely the only way to get into Vanguard. There's so many other ways that you could look for an opportunity with us.
Great stuff, Terrell. So you mentioned internships. I have a couple people actually asked if Vanguard would hire experienced workers who are looking to change career paths into their internship programs. Is that a possibility?
So actually, every internship we hope turns into a full-time position. We don't extend internships to anyone who we don't think or who wouldn't be interested in a full-time position. It's our feeling and our desire that if you come here for an internship, that you like it so much that you'd want to grow it into a career. So it's always our goal when juniors or sophomores come here to do an internship, and it's mostly juniors. We take very few sophomores, but we do take some. That after you're done with your internship and you go back for your senior year, after your senior year, we'd like to turn that into a full-time position.
So it's, you're open to it, but it's got to be, the intention's got to be this is going to become a full-time position. Is that
No, I mean,
right?
it doesn't have to be. I mean, we would like for you to consider it, consider it again. And I said this before. Not everybody is going to know what they want to do. So maybe you're taking an internship to figure out if it's what you want to do. If you figure out after your internship is over, you don't think that this is the right fit for you, our feelings aren't going to be hurt. It's okay. We'd like for you to seriously consider it. But after you've done it, if you've had a rich, rewarding experience and you feel that this isn't the place for you, we're okay. We understand that. That's what internships are all about. But it is our goal that our interns will find this a great place to work and that they would want to come back and work here afterwards.
I know you've been in the HR field for a while now, and I have a question that speaks to what you guys are looking for. And the person who asked the question sort of said, I understand that you want these superlatives like team player and leader, and they kind of challenged us and said, what do you specifically want? And this is how I'd like to ask you this question. Like, as a recruiter, Terrell, what jumps out at you when you see a resume from a college student that makes you think this person is a star and we should pursue them at our company?
Okay, that's a fair question. So I often meet candidates, and I'm going to be perfectly blunt with you. Sometimes accountant and finance majors are not the most dynamic people. A lot of times you meet finance and accountants and they choose this career because they are more introverted. But us professionals who are in the people industry, we understand that not everybody is an extreme extrovert and is going to jump out to you. We have ways of figuring out whether someone's going to be a great fit. So let's say you are more of an introvert and you're not the best presenting person when it comes off. There are other things that we look for that will help us kind of figure that out. What we want to see is that you at least have an interest and know what we do. I'm often surprised at how many people say, I want to work for Vanguard. I turn around and then say, well, what do you know about Vanguard? And they say they don't know anything. So we look for people, and certainly I do, who perks up my ears. If you know something about Vanguard and are able to speak to that something that you know articulately. Do you have some type of professional presence? So even if you are an introvert, are you at least able to give me a firm handshake and tell me, a little bit about yourself? Because you do have to interact, and although, I understand you may be an introvert, you have to be able to interact with the team, so you can't be so introverted that you can't work in a team dynamic. And so, that's a fair question, but I'd push back and say, that there has to be something in there where we can visibly see that would make us think that you would be a good fit to work at a company such as ours.
Yeah, thanks for the candid answer. I think that's a good question and a good answer too. You talked about staying in touch with the financial industry, and I actually got this question a handful of times. Is any suggestions on how the students on the call should stay up to date with the financial industry?
Absolutely. Something really simple. Pick up the Wall Street Journal. Go online and just every search engine from Google, even Yahoo. Actually, I prefer Yahoo. I know everybody's a big Google fan, but I actually love Yahoo's finance page. And just click on it and just click through the headlines and the financial page and just kind of see what's going on out there. I think a lot of the stuff that's going on right now is incredibly interesting. You don't have to be extremely well versed. Just know something about what's going on out there, and read the stuff that appeals to you. There's a lot of stuff out there that doesn't necessarily appeal to me, but I find that there's a heck of a lot of things that do. And so just have the ability just to figure out what you can do, to just kind of stay up to date on what's going on.
Good stuff. So is a CPA necessary to work as an accountant in Vanguard?
No, it's not. There are people who get their CPA. I'm finding, especially in our financial, fund financial associate position, which is a part of our fund financial services division. There are a lot of people who get their CFA designation. We actually support and sponsor CFA and CPA crew members who want to pursue those designations. So it's not required, but it is supported.
Terrell, what about international candidates? We have a few on the call who've asked, what is the employment opportunities if you're an international candidate here in the United States?
I get this question about 10 times a day. So our official policy right now is that we do not sponsor international students for full-time employment or internships. However, it is something that our leadership, my team specifically, has constantly gone back to the powers that be and have said we get a lot of great students who are international students that we feel like we have to turn away because our company's policy at this point in time is to not support international students or sponsor international students. That could change at any time, so I always say continually kind of keep checking our careers portion of our website for updates about that. I'm sure the moment it happens, that'll be one of the resources and ways in which you'll be able to find out when that stance has changed. But as of right now, there are no opportunities for international students, sorry to say.
Terrell, do you know if there's a published calendar of what campuses your recruiters will be on this year?
Oh, that's a good question. It is not public, but the best way is to call your career services office and ask your career services office. Depending on where your school is located, especially if your school is within 2 or 3 hours of each one of our campuses, we have someone who does my position, or several of us who do my position in our Scottsdale and Arizona office and our Charlotte, North Carolina, then here in Pennsylvania. So if you're close, there's a good chance that we have been or will be on your campus at some point in time. And if we're not, don't be afraid to invite us out. I love, love, love going out to campuses, and as long as my boss will support me going and it's developing a new relationship, I'm more than happy to do so. I especially like getting out there and talking to clubs, to organizations. You know, if you're a part of any club or organization and you think Vanguard might be good to come in and speak to your club, there's no harm in asking. I can't make any promises because our calendars are filling up quick, and there's only, at least in Pennsylvania, 3 of us that travel to colleges and universities. But we love to go out and talk to clubs, come to career fairs, and meet as many students as we possibly can. If you are interested in seeing if you have a club or an organization and you want Vanguard to see if we can come to speak, the best thing that I can tell you to do is you could I can give you my email address, and you can email me, and what I'll do is I'll forward it on to the team, and we can see who has the capacity to take it. I will say the fall, we're pretty much booked all fall with all of our existing events, but there may be some opportunity in the spring. My email address is Terrell, it's Terrell _D, as in David, _McCray, MCCRAY, @Vanguard.com. Again, that's Terrell _D _McCray @Vanguard.com. If you do send an email asking for us to visit a campus, if you could do me a great favor and just put in the subject line campus visit, that would help me immensely.
Very good. So one more question here. We may have time for 2 more. The question is talked about networking, and when students meet someone like you on campus, Terrell, the student is wondering how I can follow up with people like you, connections that they meet on campus, and sort of what I think they're asking is, as a recruiter, how do you want to be approached and followed up with by student candidates, and what impresses you?
Oh wow, that's a really good question. So immediately what comes to mind, I'll tell you what immediately turns me off. A student will walk up to me and just kind of say hi with no follow-up behind it. I'm a huge fan of practicing your elevator speech or your 30-second speech. Mm-hmm. You know, if you're going to come up to me and want to introduce yourself, it'd be great if you had an idea, you know, hello, my name is, you know, Joe Smith, and I am a sophomore student at the university majoring in so-and-so, and I'm really interested in careers of, you know, finance or economics or, you know, or whatever, and, you know, do you have any opportunities that could help me, or something like that. You know, I think what annoys me the most is when I get a student who comes up and just has, you know, they're just kind of like, hey, and I'm like, hey, back, and, you know, there's no exchange, and I'm like, you know, it's the worst thing you can do is kind of, and I hate to sound contrite, but waste time. There's so many students out there that, you know, I did a career fair yesterday, and our line was down the conference hall, and you know, just have something substantive to say or ask when you meet us. Any recruiter, I think, for that matter, I think that goes a long way.
Yeah, I second that completely. Terrell, where can these students go to learn more about Vanguard, about internship, entry-level experience positions? We've had questions about all of them. Point us in the right direction, please.
Sure. So it's been at the bottom of every one of my slides. If you want to connect with Vanguard, you can go to vanguard.com/careers. What you will see on the careers page, you'll see information about about every position that I've talked about today, and then some that I did not. It's a great place to go. This is specifically designed for students. If you click on the resources, it'll be very clear what's available for students and what's not. If you just want to research more about Vanguard, just go to the generic vanguard.com. We have so much information on our website, from tools to help you figure financial things out to just helping you understand some basic things about finance. We have great videos from our leaders and all types of industry information. So it's a great resource to leverage if that's something that you want to use.
Fantastic. Terrell, I will share these with you later, but we've had so many notes of thanks and appreciation of what you've described today. I really do believe that students need to be more aware of options, including working in a corporation, because there's a lot of corporations, and there are some incredible opportunities available to accounting majors through corporations, and it sounds like Vanguard is just one of the absolute best places to start a career. So I think we've all learned a great deal. So
best decision I ever made.
Really? That is fantastic. Well, before I wrap things up, I just want to say thank you to you, and thanks for doing this, for volunteering to do this, and doing such a fantastic job.
Not a problem. And can I just share one last piece of advice with everyone?
Please.
So, guys, before I go, there's just one last piece of advice I just want to leave you with, and that's be confident. You know, when you go out there, you have to separate yourself from everybody else, and there's a way to come off confident without being overly cocky. And I think the way that you accomplish that is just to thine own self be true. Know who you are, know what you want to do, and know what you don't want to do. When you are able to articulately express that, you know, come across with that confidence, know what you do and don't want to do, it speaks volumes about who you are. And I think, unfortunately, I learned that a little bit too late, but I'm extremely self-aware now, and that it comes across, and I get that feedback from a lot of people that I speak with, that you're just probably one of the most self-aware persons that I know, and it opens up so much opportunity. And so I know, you know, this is a learning experience for you, and yeah, I think you're doing all the right things. Being here today is proof of that. Don't be afraid to just be bold in what it is that you want. Be confident, but be humble at the same time. And I know that seems maybe like a double entendre to some of you, but some of you will also get it. And I think, you know, that will help you in your career search, but it will also help you in life. So be confident and be bold and be humble at the same time. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Terrell. And as great advice, by the way, for any age. As we wrap up, I'm going to send you a couple of messages here. One is where you can access, if you like us on Facebook, you'll be able to access a lot more career information and information on careers like Vanguard. The second thing is, please do apply and register for the upcoming webinars. I'll send you the link for that as well. It's meetthefirmsweek.com/webinars, and you can register for the upcoming 2 webinars Thursday and Friday, including one that's going to be focused on career and job search related questions that many of you asked. So with that being said, if you asked a question we didn't get to it, Terrell and I will stick around for a few more minutes and answer them online. And so if you drop off, we won't be able to answer your question, but if you stick around, we can quickly answer it. And Terrell, what I'll do is just assign a couple questions to you, and you'll see them. You can just give real quick answers. You'll see what I mean. You can chat me if you have any questions.
Okay.
Thank you to Terrell, to Vanguard, to all of our sponsors and team here at CollegeFrog who put on this week's event, and most importantly to all of the accounting job seekers out there. We appreciate you being a part of this today and making this such a fun event. Have a great day, and take care. Bye now.